Hello everybody, welcome to the show. We are doing the ultimate shootout BFS video right here, right now. Now, I apologize, I tried to do a live, I came out here and was testing out our new reel. Let's look at it right now. I was testing this one out. I put it up against the Aldebaran over here on this rod. This is an awesome rod, 522 super ultralight. You'd think that it should cast a 16th ounce jig further than any of my other rods just because it's so lightweight and it should, whip it out there. But being only 5 foot 2 inches, it's actually lacking. And I've talked about it before. I only use this rod like very small streams or if I'm crappie fishing. I don't really truly use this for bass fishing except here lately. It is fun to catch any size bass on a popper. So I use it for some of those little bitty top waters, but it's not really what I call an all-around BFS rod for bass. For maybe BFS creeks and streams for trout and stuff like that, you guys could maybe consider it for that. So today, what we're doing a shootout. We've got the same crappie jig, and you can go back. We're doing it right out here in the yard. And last year, I did a lot of shootout videos between the ALC BF7, which won the ultimate 16th ounce crappie jig battle against the Aldebaran, against the Metanium with the KTF spool, with the against the LTX BF8, and I can't remember however many reels. It was what ultimately won. So just by a little bit, it barely beat out this reel or the LTX and the other ones. They were all within a couple feet, like you guys have. Hopefully you saw enough in that other video. It's kind of horrible, the live one, but go back and check out the other ones if you want to see what the ALC BF7 did. I believe it was going out in the street further, but I'm wanting to say I was doing it with this rod. But anyway, this is what we're going to switch to. So what I'm getting ready to do is I'm going to go out here and I'm going to cast the Aldebaran, since it's one that we've had and we're putting up these newer reels against it. So I'm going to throw the 16th ounce with it. We'll see if it, and I believe it should go about a foot or so further, or at least as far as this. But then the rest of this shootout video is all going to be done on this rod. We'll start with the Aldebaran. It'll give us something to go by. These reels, these are AliExpress reels. They're thrown into the mix now. I just picked this one up. Came in today. This is the one that I'm probably going to start recommending. We're going to see how the shootout does. I have had time. I got it out on the water, tested it just a little bit. Haven't really done any shootout videos yet. But we're going to pair it, we're putting it against the PW100. It's not really in competition with these other two. They're a lot more expensive reels. But as far as AliExpress goes, this is the one you guys have heard me talking about, PW100, and it's going up against this one. Once I get the chesty on, I'll try to hold them up, do some size comparisons between all of these. Definitely the Aldebaran and the Alphas are a smaller frame. They're as light, and they're actually metal frames. These AliExpress ones, if you don't know, are like, they call it carbon, but basically they're plastic frames, like some of your cheaper reels you can get here in the States are. For example, a lot of you guys do probably know what the Black Max, that reel there, and some of the cheaper quantums in those, it's probably the quality of what these are. Not saying they can't last several years. You take care of them, may last you 10 years, I don't know, 5 years, 2 years, 4 years. The Aldebaran and the Alphas, I'm guessing most of you guys would consider like lifetime reels. Like if you buy them and you plan on using them, buying parts, maybe send them to get them repaired or whatever. A lot of guys, you spend $300+ on a reel, you want it to last as long as, for a long time. At least until something new comes out and you either retire it and keep it, just to use sparingly, or you sell it off and buy the next version, generation, or whatever. These reels, maybe not so much. That longevity's still up in the air. Unfortunately, I don't keep any of them I get from AliExpress very long. Somebody else comes along in a family or a friend that decides they want them, and I want to try a different one out, so I sell that one. I've gone through the Habo Steed's one I recommend. I got it with the XF50, did a little shootout. I ended up liking the Habo Steed over the XF50. Then since the Habo Steed, I like this PW100. I had the Phantom, which is close to it's actually basically the GH100. But supposedly everybody's saying this is kind of updated version of what that Phantom was. Like, I don't know if the same company that made the Phantom is putting these out now for other people. but it's lighter. Whoa, something's flying around me. Anyway, let's get out there. Let's do the shootout. I'm going to put the chesty on, get out here and do some casting, and you'll see for sure which one of these, you know, will this one beat this one. If in the shootout, this one did beat this one by a little bit. We're going to see what it does with the 6'3" 2-piece rod. And I'll be honest, for me, it doesn't justify the cost difference. Like, they're almost the same price. This one can actually be picked up now for about $300. This is still $320, the cheapest I found it. So it's $20 more. It doesn't have the audible clicking drag, which this one does, and the new Black Knight does. So you have to add that. That's going to be at least probably 30 bucks. It's $35, cheapest I found that to add. Plus, it's an ounce heavier, and I can feel the ounce than what the Aldebaran is. So I'm still up in there whether I really like that, plan on keeping it, or maybe just try to sell it and get me another Aldebaran. Who knows? I do like, you know, a variety of different reels. Fishing with all the exact same reel, it's kind of not a bad thought, but probably not something I'll do. But real quick, we're going to jump out here and I'll show you what we did and where I'm doing. That way when I put the chesty on, you'll kind of be able to see. Here's where I stand. I stand right there, and like you can see, it's like a cutout from me standing here so much. And I cast down here towards the road. Now I've walked it off in the other video. It's walked off. I guess I could do it now. I think I had my cowboy boots on. It was colder weather, but 1, 2, 3, 19, 20. And while we're all on 20, take a look at my new shoes. Oh, they're awesome, aren't they? Yeah, just got them. 21, 22, 39, 40. So yeah, 40 is about even with the tree. You guys will be able to go by that. 41, 42, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. It's 56. So 56 is where that line was. So about 57, if you remember right, it's where we were hitting with that last video. So somewhere out in here, just a 3 foot out, is like 60 feet roughly. But it's probably more than that because I'm doing kind of long steps. But you can see how far away we are. That's plenty, you know, fishable, castable distance when you're out fishing at, you know, small lakes, ponds, especially streams. You don't need to near that casting distance. So buckle up and hang on. Let's go. All right, got the chest harness on. Like I said, we're going to start with the Aldebaran, and then we will double back up with the alphas and see if it's, you know, the same thing we figured out from the first test. But I'm just going to make some casts, and then when I think one, that one I threw downward, but it hit the street, I believe. And also, I have played with the settings on this one and the new one. I got them to where I can pretty much put a long, hard cast. Like, I can cast pretty much as hard as I want to go. So we're going to make this cast right here and probably go check it out. Okay, let's go see. That one was kind of went up and down, but it should be pretty far out there. So what did I say, 55 or 6 to the road? And this one looks to be about a foot or so past, and it's a little bit this way, which is actually a little further out. So if you can make that out, that's probably 1.5 steps towards past that line. That's where the that's kind of our baseline. Okay, for the record, it is freaking hot out here. I'm doing all this in the shade until I have to go out and cast, but it's like hot. Okay, what I found with this reel in a couple of days of fishing it, and we're going to find out here in a minute, it does not seem to like an overhead cast as well as it does the sidearm. It's weird. It's like I get occasional backlashes, so I turned it up. Yeah, we're set at 6 now, but 6 is a spot where I can zing it and not any issues. What I was having was I was out, you know, just fishing normally, and I was pretty much zinging it like this. You know, no issues. And then I'd rear back and cast overhand, you know, overhead, like an overhand cast, and it would backlash. And I'm like, what is going on? I couldn't figure it out. Like midair, it wouldn't even make it like 20 feet. It'd be like doink and drop. And the line was catching or whatever. So I don't know. And the wind caught that, but it's getting in right about where the Aldebaran was. And like I said, it's definitely a caster. Like it. All right, let's go check that. I got it pretty much set like that. For me, and I whip it pretty hard. Number 6 seems to be where I want it because it just flat out, you know, I can throw it hard. It doesn't backlash. Where'd it go? I saw it hit the street. Here's our line. I'm blind. There it is. Okay, so we beat. There it is right here. If you remember, it was like 1.5 feet to the line. So 1, 2, 3, so 1.5 feet. So 3 feet. Which is that's actually better with this rod now that I've used it and I've set it a little bit. It's actually a little bit further. I was only getting 1 foot or so on the 5.22 in the first initial one. So this thing is actually a little bit better. And I do have true 10-pound test, and I got 15-pound on the Aldebaran, but you can just feel it in the spool. It definitely, when you get down to those 2 grams or anything lighter, it's going to be easier to cast this alphas than it is going to be the Aldebaran. I do not question that one bit after having it, just fishing it for the weekend. The only thing is, this is also easy to cast. Like, I don't have any issues. I'm casting it. It feels just as easy, you know, and as far as like the drag and pull, they feel very similar. This one gets, like I said, an extra foot or 2 or 3, you know, just depending on the conditions and the bait you're throwing. Maybe when you're, you know, shooting for distance. But normally with these small baits, I'm not really distance fishing. I'm actually trying to throw it to a spot, a little lighter weight bait, which is actually usually, I keep saying actually and usually a lot, but you guys, if this was a drinking game, you guys be drunk. But I'm, you know, taking something usually, I said it again, most of the time heavier than this bait, double by double, like an 1/8 ounce and up to about 1/4 with my BFS stuff, and I'm throwing it in a certain little spot, you know, and working it with BFS gear. So I don't have any issue with this one. And what I'm saying is that although this one does have that little bit smaller, lighter spool and it does cast better, it's only by like a little bit. And it looks like it's a smaller overall reel, but it's definitely heavier. It's made out of aluminum. But it palms about the same. They both palm real well. But what I was trying to show somebody and talked about, do you see where when you're reeling, it's hard to make out without mounting them like on the same reel foot kind of thing to where they set. But this one definitely sets out just by a little bit as far as the drag. You know, Shimano has everything more compact than Daiwa on how they have this, and it's not by a lot. A lot of guys don't even care about that. They let run. Some guys still like straight handles, but for me, that small, lightweight, compact with the clicking audible drag still has this one as my all-time favorite out of the box. This one, you add a clicking drag. You know, of course, I do the single lifestyle. Maybe take this drag star and put I don't know if you can get much lighter than that. It's plastic, but it's definitely a very small, good, compact reel. And if you guys haven't heard me mention it, you probably are. Hopefully you don't get tired of me talking about how awesome this thing is. That little clicker right there, I mean, you can click it, know where it's at, you can read it. I'll be honest, on this one I can't see any of that. Like, so when I go like, where's it at, I have to grab my glasses, which are just like 1.25s or whatever, and I have to put them on to see that. And it's like the numbers is knocked off. I can tell that that's a 6 and that's a 5 to set this. Now once I get them set though, like I don't hardly ever touch that, so that's probably be the case with this one. But those numbers are down in there, and that's easy to turn. I love that. You can just get down there and turn it with the, and so say if I decided I was throwing a super lightweight bait, I was going from super lightweight to a heavier bait, and I did figure out, I started, you know, I need to set it, say at 8 when I'm throwing something bigger, whatever. It's so easy to make, you know, just turn it, click it, and keep going. That's the one thing that this reel has over any other reel I've actually ever used. Some of them aren't bad, these aren't bad, but it's kind of the same thing. Just the feel of how good a quality that one feels over all the others I've had is awesome. All right, enough about that.